what's going on? Melissa Kibler here. In today's training, I'm going to share with you how I begin planning out my content and posts for the week. I'm actually going to break down my 3, 2, 1 simple strategy to help you do that. And as you can see, I got a different background behind me. I am out here, beautiful California weather, sun is shining. Much different from the weather over on the East Coast where it's a little chillier there, the snow is on the ground there. So I'm very, very happy to be out here. I'm actually out here for a workshop. I'll be helping to mentor and train a large group of students coming in this weekend to help them take their businesses online. But this training, I wanted to share with you my simple 3, 2, 1 strategy to help you really begin planning your content and posts for the week. So welcome. If you're joining in live, make sure you let me know that you're on live with me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And I want to know below, I love the engagement. I want to ask you, do you currently plan your content? Or are you somebody that just kind of flies by the seat of their pants when it comes to a social media strategy, just wishing and hoping that, you're just on social media, you're going to try to build your business, but you really don't have a plan or strategy? So that could be you too, because that was me. I didn't even realize that was the thing, when I first started building my business online. So welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Melissa Kibler, and I help network marketers, entrepreneurs, home-based business owners to really get on the fast track to success using simple and effective social media strategies. So when I first started, like I said, building my business online, I had no strategy at all. I was simply just posting pictures of my products. I was doing, lifestyle posts, trying to just simply do what I could on my personal page just with the following that I had. And a lot of that consumed with just my family and my friends. So it's been quite the journey since then. I've learned a lot of great skill sets along the way to really help me to understand how I could actually grow my following beyond my family and friends and start really attracting more like-minded people that were a better fit for my products, opportunity, and service. So this training is really all about how to strategize a little bit better, to give you more of a concrete plan, a daily mode of action, but really specifically when it comes down to content. So if you are building your business or wanting to build your business online, it's really, really important to have a strategy to really start treating your business like a true professional. And that means you're going to be showing up consistently on social media. And that means you got to put out some really killer content, valuable content that your audience, that you're following is going to love and want and look forward to. So here's my 3, 2, 1 strategy. And this is going to sound so simple because it really is this simple. The first one actually may surprise you a little bit, but it's kind of crazy and ironic that I'm doing this live here on the ocean, on the beach, because my tip number 1 is part of my 3, 2, 1 strategy as far as putting out my content and posts for the week. Number 1 comes from find your sources of inspiration. And I apologize if I'm a little shaky. I don't have my selfie stick with me, so I'm kind of just holding my hand up in the air here on the beach. But number 1 is truly find your sources of inspiration. Who is it that you follow? Who is it that you look up to? Maybe it's a book that you read. Maybe it's here sitting, if you're like me, loving the ocean, where you can just come and collect your thoughts and just simply sit in peace and think. A lot of the times life is so crazy and chaotic. Let me know if you can relate to this. We're always on the go, like go all the time. I got 2 kids, back at home, and we're always busy. So a lot of the times, as a busy mom, or even if you're working full time in a professional, corporate career or something like that, we often don't take enough time to sit back and think and reflect. So that's one of the biggest sources for me. The biggest tip I can give you is to really, tip number 1 is really find and know your sources of inspiration. And if you don't have enough of those right now that fire you up and light you up and spark that, light and fire inside of you, keep looking for, what's out there. What is it? What do you like to listen to? Who do you like to follow on a consistent basis that you're like, wow, you just want to keep tuning back in and learning more and more and more. Find out what that source of inspiration is for you. Number 2, as part of my 3, 2, 1 strategy, is to lean into what stops and gets you thinking. And I really want to stress that because, again, sometimes we don't take enough time to reflect and sit back. So So when you're reading, when you're here on the beach listening to the waves and you're just laying here, in the peace and the quiet, what stops you? What gets you thinking? What's in your mind? What are you thinking about? This could be a motivational video that you're watching, or hearing somebody speak, or reading something out of a book. It could be even a song you're listening to. I really want you to tap into that and really, really lean into that, because once you start really tapping into that, and sometimes it provokes that feeling kind of deep inside, that gut feeling. Sometimes you might feel an emotional feeling that comes along with that as well. And that's even better, because with content that you're putting out for your following, it creates that vulnerability piece. It's that relatable piece that they're going to understand who you are, what you're all about. Sometimes they can relate to your story, even if it's not exactly the same story. Yes, it's absolutely a nice day. Hey, thanks, Alpha. Thank you for jumping on and tuning in live with me. So tip number 3, as part of my 3-2-1 strategy, is now once you can find your source of inspiration, now you're leaning into what stopped, got you thinking a little bit. Tip number 3 is you're gonna start writing. You're just gonna let those ideas, you're gonna let those thoughts just flow on paper. And sometimes this stops us. Sometimes I know this stops us, where we get to the point of, I don't know how this is gonna sound on paper, or I can't quite wrap my words around making it. We try to be a perfectionist sometimes with making it sound so perfect, and forming our words so perfectly, and overcomplicating it more than what it needs to be, honestly. So tip number 3 is just let your words flow on paper. Write it down. Whatever is coming to mind, whatever thoughts are in your head, I encourage you to write those down. And really your content, your story is going to form around that. And if you're the person, like I was, where I was overthinking as far as like, what do I put on my page? Is this the right content to be putting on my page that's going to lead this person into becoming a customer or a business partner or anything like that? You have to almost let that go, because especially if you're trying to build your business online, you're really truly trying to stand out among everybody else in your company, in your niche, in your industry. It's really all about branding yourself, and your brand is just you. So if you have thoughts, if you have a message, if you have, whatever that is inside of you, that your overall, like I said, it's your brand. So if you have something to say it. You craft that message, and more than likely that's how people get to know you. That is your brand. You start to build these connections, you start to form these relationships, and a lot of the time, the more you can tap into that, and you can really become aware of these thoughts and things that you surround yourself with, people, content, and inspiration, all of that. The more you tap into that, the more you're going to discover who you are, and you are going to become more specific and unique in the marketplace, because you're going to discover that really who you are and what you're all about, and that's really what this is. So I want to leave you with this. Drop me #value if you're getting some value from this so far. Let me know, are you currently doing this already? Is this helping you at all, as far as if you're the type of person that's thinking, I just don't know what to post? Sometimes, especially even with kids, it's like I can post about my kids all day long, but other than that, I don't know what to post. That's how I was. So honestly, it takes you digging a little bit deeper and discovering yourself more, your identity, and a lot of that comes out as well. So do this for you. It's your own personal growth and development throughout all of this. But I want you to really remember this. Our thoughts are what triggers us to take an action. So in order for us to move forward on that journey to success, we have to, again, start with that one thought, but don't just think it, we got to act upon it. So our thoughts turn into actions, and those actions are going to be turning into healthy, positive habits. And it's those healthy, positive habits that lead us to success. That's really the key here. Those things straight, in that order, that's what leads us to success. And I want to also give you a little bonus tip. Now, if you're writing out and you start to write those thoughts down on paper, and you start to form this story around, your inspiration, what I encourage you, a bonus tip for me, is to, when I get into that flow and when I start writing, you can use that one line of your copy and turn that into a quote. You can use, those words on paper and that story that you formed and turn that into a Facebook Live. There's a lot of ways that you can repurpose your content to really adapt to all the different learning modalities on all different social media platforms as well. So the more you do that, the more you're going to get into a rhythm and a routine, and it's going to become easier and easier and easier. So in the beginning, if this is tough and if you're still struggling with content, putting out posts on a consistent basis and really not sure what to talk about on your Facebook Lives, sometimes you just have to jump in. Feet first, feet in the water, you just gotta go. The more you do it, same with Facebook Lives, the more you do it, you're going to build up that muscle. You're going to get stronger, you're going to become more confident, you're going to become happier and have more fun along the process doing it as well. So hopefully these tips helped you. Let me know if they did. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Tune in for more tips and training here on the page. If you haven't yet subscribed or liked my page, make sure you do so and change those notifications to see first. You never miss a tip or training. And hopefully I can give you a sneak peek as to our workshop coming up this weekend as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm so super excited about that. So I'm gonna leave you here with the ocean and the waves. I had my seagull friends hanging out with me all afternoon. It was just like a flock of them sitting around me. It was the funniest thing. They were nowhere else on the beach than just like sitting around me. It was so funny. But it's just a little chilly. It looks like I have a blanket on, but it's actually a big oversized sweater. But so that's all I got for you. Thanks again for tuning in and watching. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to invest in yourself and learn more. But go out and crush it. You're amazing. Until next time, talk soon. Bye-bye.